All right, so today's May 8th, 2022, and this is our 100th and so Desiderata Extinctionati meeting. And I'll start it off, I'd make an announcement that we've finally taken back the Extinctionati Reddit. So as you can see, we have few moderators now, and now we can kind of make the Reddit page our own, and so you'll see more of that. Also, there was a comment about bringing in Paul Beckwith as a possible guest. So we had a chat before about how to bring in Paul Beckwith, and I wanted to see if everyone is okay with having him, if he's a good guest. I think it would be great as long as he's interested, and we can give him a bit of what we, the Extinctionati, think about collapse and the whole climate situation.
How do we contact him, and who should do it? You know, I know somebody said that he has, of course, he has contacts, loads on YouTube and stuff. So I suppose it wouldn't be easy to find difficult to find an email. But who do we? Which of us would be kind of maybe Torstein, who's got a YouTube channel, but he's gone to make coffee. So
I'd say who has the best relation, or who's in contact with him already. If not, I can do it, but it'd be good if somebody knows him already and keeps in contact.
I mean, maybe Gary has been in contact with him. I don't know. We could leave it hanging anyway, and we could follow that up.
I can make an initial contact like I did before with the other guests.
Yes.
And we'll see what they say. But yeah, but I know there's been situations where I reached out, and then because they don't know me, they either ignore me or they reject the offer. So I've seen. You remember other guests like you spoke with, just so we're prepared.
Oh yeah. A lot ignore me.
But yeah, that's all. Just so we, because
we can try from different angles. There's some people that Hugh was in contact in the environmental coffee house, and I think they've had Paul Beckwith before. So maybe also if we reached out to, what's her name again? Nice woman there that does that, those talks on YouTube. I think Torstein knows her name. And, maybe they could help us saying, well, because they know who we are and they know what Hugh was doing. So we might need a proxy to get to him. If ever you don't succeed, we could use it.
Yeah, so just throwing it out there, just so it would be nice to have Paul Beckwith. I've been interested in his work, and to have him get an interview with us, that'd be great.
Yeah, and you could tell him that we've been discussing his videos and watching his stuff for the last 2 years, and that he's been at the center of a lot of conversations we've had because we use his data and stuff like that, so that we post a lot of his videos on our sub. That even if we don't agree on everything, he does a great job on a lot of things.
Great, yeah.
So that's a good thing. Good.
Yeah, and other than that, yeah, but I think that'd be, speaking of guests, if there's anybody interested, I think that'd be great to have interviews again, like how when he was alive, we had several, a lot, but it'd be nice to do it again. Yeah.
Well, there was people we interviewed when Hugh was with us. Among those people, is there anyone that we would have liked to see again and with who we had a good exchange? Because that could be, we've already had contacts with them. I haven't, nobody comes to my mind yet. They're talking about Kevin.
I
But
know Going South before said maybe Kevin Anderson. Um I think he is I don't know, I think he takes a stance. I don't know if it's against geoengineering.
yes, 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 that's true. He was very interesting man. Yes, I remember. Oh, George Sacralides, you suggested. Yes, George used to. Yeah, George might be interesting. Okay, Jason Barks. Now, who is Jason Barks? I can't remember. Jason Barks. I follow George's blog, and I usually comment on his work, on his WordPress. So if you want, I could reach out to him. I can I can connect with George. We'll see. He's mostly a writer now. He doesn't, but he's Kevin Anderson. I don't know who has contact with Kevin Anderson. Um, yes, it's a good idea to continue the interview thing. Mm.
Oh yeah, we did contact him, and was he very busy at the time?
Yeah, it was during COP, uh, during Glasgow.
Cop Out 21.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember a video of him in Glasgow that we posted at the time. Maybe now he's a bit more. Maybe he's more available and less traveling and work. Where is he based? Cop out Con 21. Yeah. Is he based in England?
I think he's in Manchester, or otherwise he was in. I think it might be otherwise in Norway, Sweden. Oh, Stockholm says GS.
Ah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, there'll be some more ideas that will probably pop up. But I
Mhm.
definitely contact George. Um,
George.
I mean, he was one of the first guys that Hugh interviewed when he stopped doing his no escape videos. He was
Yeah,
one of the first guys he had. Read Jason Box. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah,
thank you.
if you because I don't really know who he is. Somebody to discover. Good.
How about Duke Ramsey or
Oh,
in
Lionel.
terms of magic? Yeah, magic.
Lionel.
Lionel Schnell.
Yeah, we'd have to talk. Maybe. Yeah. Um, we'd have to have a pretty good topic that we
Right.
want to explore with him because
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
he can be very precise and very helpful when you're on a subject because he's very easy to talk to because I had a chat with him privately after Hugh passed away on the ceremony and stuff. He's just such a lovely guy, and I think Gary has spoken with him too. So, but it would have to be maybe if we go exploring again the woo and the what. Now, yes, I wanted to say I have reached out to Jason Webb. I don't know when he listened to this, but I've sent him an email because he wanted to make a presentation on ufology because we had it was not my subject at all, but Hugh had started that part of the work when he passed away, and I think Jason has some stuff to say about it. So I don't know where Hugh was going with all this, but maybe we could just try to explore that with him because I think he might have more background. Because to be honest, I've never really, for me, it's always been a riddle um, why we were doing this. And I mean, it's not totally clear to me if anybody has any. Because I think at this stage it would be nice to go back a bit on Hugh's work because I really it's an enormous amount of work and there's an enormous amount of stuff. in the videos, but also in the meetings that we've talked about. And I was thinking I pinned the mega thread at the top of the sub, because I think, Mike, you did a very good job at putting titles on some of the meetings we did, because it's very difficult to find. But I think we could, all of us, if ever we want to edit or write the titles on some of the meetings, if we can re-listen to some of them, and I think we could go back in them, and when we have a topic that interests us, we can start to look a little bit into all the references he gave us and all this sort of stuff, because it's enormous. And I don't think we have only explored a tiny bit of all the stuff that he's left us to look at and develop, because I think it's really big, whether in history, whether in psychology and philosophy and spirituality and science and biology and everything. It's everywhere. It's just in all directions, and we all have different talents and interests. So if we can pick a meeting, and maybe we could even sometimes, some of the meetings could be going back on an old meeting, and we could just, that would bring Hugh a bit with us too, because we would get his words again out a bit, and because I
guess
know,
I
yeah.
guess we could perhaps screen share and let you be with us through a screen share. Let's say if I push the toggle screen share button and played one of Yu's videos, and he could sort of be with us on the screen. It's possible, isn't it? We could have a test run after the show or something. To just play an old YouTube video or a copy of it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And then so we could do like a snippet of his, and then kind of discuss what he was trying to say, or yeah, that'd be great.
Bring him back. But I think he was so much at the center of the meetings, and it's just that it's difficult sometimes to start up. I mean, we're doing a great job. I don't know how we could continue the meetings after what happened, but we did. So I mean, I find it a bit difficult to sometimes watch him. Sometimes at the start I did, and then I started to get a bit sad or missing him and stuff, and so I didn't look at them. And now I started to listen again to all this stuff, and that's what came to my mind. Yeah, it's a good idea if we can screen share, and then we could pick one of the meetings and have little pieces and discuss things as if he was there. Maybe on one of his anniversary, a Hugh Fest. Yeah.
Yeah,
There
wonderful.
would be so many anniversaries for what he did, for all the things he did, because yeah. Or we could have a meeting once a month that could be a Hugh festival, a Hugh revival, whatever we call it, and we could pick some of his epic meetings, and they were nearly all like that, actually. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, on that note, Sophie, I've seen that you've posted some of the excerpts from the book that he was writing. Have you posted all of those that you have access to?
I think I have one left. I was trying not to put them all at the same time. I think I have one. Just 1 second now, because I think I've left it in my browser. 1 minute, and have a look. The last one I posted was Dunbar number, breaking Dunbar's number. Yeah, there's another one on called Göbekli Tepe and currency, and that is a big thing, 47 pages on PDF. So I can post that one, and after that, no, I don't have anything else. But I have done a PDF of the introduction of the Sirius Institute, because in case it goes away. So I mean, if you want it, I have it kind of condensed into I haven't changed anything. I've just put it onto a PDF because I was afraid that the website might disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. I wish I had more. Now, if, and that's, I don't know when that will happen, but, or if it will ever happen, but if ever we could stay in contact with his family, with his sister, I know that all his belongings have been sent back to the US, to his children. And that might take a while because, you know, if it's shipped and all, the time they look at everything, but they should be his laptop. Now, the laptop went in the water, but we know that you can save because it was taken out quite fast, actually, by fishermen. So if we could get in contact with his family, and if they have no use of his hard drive, I mean, I don't know how we could work around and be as delicate as possible and you know, have tact to try to explain to them the importance of his work for us. And would they mind letting somebody in the States have a look at the hard drive to see if it can be copied or saved? And I think his family is in Seattle, so if somebody on the West Coast would have knowledge in, you know, but first I think I've tried to reach out to his sister, and she told me that it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she told me that the children were still coming to terms with everything. So I don't want to push it now, but I think I'm keeping that on the back burner because there might be a possibility that there's much more writings in that hard drive, on that hard drive.
Yeah, I just love his writing. The videos themselves are great in and of
You
themselves,
never
but
have enough of it.
yeah, the writing is fantastic. I love that introduction to the Sirius Institute, and all of those excerpts are just great.
The introduction to the Sirius Institute that I have done combined, it's 129 pages on PDF, so it's nearly a book in itself, do you know? So I could post that one day, but I'll post the one on currency today, actually, or tomorrow. I'll put that on, and that will be the last one that I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Open conversation. Anybody wants to say something?
Or if you want to have a topic, Divine Beast posted 2 days ago about the 5 stages of grief and achieving a catharsis in apocalypse. Do you think that's a good topic?
I think the video was excellent because he was debunking the linear thinking of the 5 stages, and he was using that to expand the idea of catharsis. But I think it's very important, and I tried to post a thing. I think I hate the word debunking, actually, and Hugh hated it too. But destroying is better. Destroying myth, destroying. I posted something also on sleep. I know it's not. It might sound very trivial, but it's the same thing. It's just this thing that we think that our concepts are, you know, true, and that we can define what is normal and abnormal, and you discover that in fact our sleep is completely absurd as opposed to what it was for thousands and thousands of years. So um, it's the same with grief. Like that psychologist Kubler-Ross, who actually was talented enough to do that, but she influenced an awful lot of psychotherapists who actually um, completely pissed off most of their patients because they were not going through the 5 stages. They couldn't understand. They were saying, "Oh yeah, now I've been in denial, so I should be in or depression, or now I should be." And it is just another myth that is completely ridiculous. Yes, we could go through that that video. Now, do you want to screen share?
Sure. But okay, yeah, we can go over it if everyone's okay, or if there's another topic. But give me a moment here. Let's see.
Just on that topic, you made me think, Sophie. The word I like a lot better than debunking or anything is deconstruction, sort of just taking it apart and seeing all the different parts that make up something rather than just proving something wrong. Debunking has all the mainstream connotation and whatever, but deconstruction is the way I like to think about it, to actually get down to the nitty gritty of what makes up something.
I agree with you, but Hugh was saying, I think, somewhere in that video that what was very interesting is that the establishment is basing a lot of its premises on this kind of principle, like the 5 stages of grief, like all that. So
Mm-hmm.
it is his way. I mean, the first part of the video is about destroying that myth. It's about they want people to buy into this sort of narrative, like they buy into what is a normal diet, like he
And
was
it's
saying, as buy into, oh, you have to drink so much water a day, or you have to sleep so many hours a night, or you have to eat so many calories, all that bullshit, and
it's self-fulfilling too. If you tell
mm,
someone that there's 5 stages of grief, that suggestion will eventually sort of lead to them experiencing things that way. Same with sleep. If you just tell someone 100 times that you need to sleep 8 hours again and again and again, they will just make a habit out of it. So it's a myth, but it's a myth, designed to achieve a certain purpose in people. Yeah.
but it will not only create a myth for them, but it will also create a belief in being dysfunctional when they are not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. And
All
then if
right.
something's wrong with you, you go to the professional fixers who follow the procedures established by the system itself and bring you back into the fold that way. Yeah. It's nefarious.
Oh, you're muted, Sophie.
Hugh would have said this is the method used in the plantation.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All right. I think I can share it here. Are you able to see? Oh, yeah.
You could also click on the transcript thing on the side,
Oh, sure.
because then you could have also what he's saying, and it's quite good to do that sometimes if you want.
Okay.
When you go on the, oh yeah,
Caption.
that's better.
Wait, are you able to hear? I'm just gonna test it out.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, let me see. Ah,
Maybe you have to mute your microphone.
huh. I wonder if I could share the sound. Or let me see if I.
Could you hear it? Or
Mike, if you stop the screen share and start again, you'll see there's a little tick box that says share sound as well.
okay, let me.
It's the bottom left.
See, share. Oh,
There's something written share audio and share video, and you might have to tick those two.
Oh, okay.
It's like when you initiate the screen share at the bottom left, there's a tick box that says share system audio.
All right, let me Wait, I'm not able to find it. Share system audio.
Yeah, like when you first click on the screen share button, and it says toggle screen share, and you hit that button, and the window comes up asking you what you want to share. At the bottom of that window, it says share system audio, and you can tick that.
It's not popping up for me.
But if you go in the main thing where we have recording and all that, I think there's a thing written share audio. There's an option. It's I have an option. Maybe you don't. You don't have it?
Yeah.
I have it. So no, mute everyone. No. I have on my Jitsi. I have something called share video, share audio. If
Maybe
you
it's
can't expand it,
maybe it's invite people on the top. There's something. It says invite people. All the way on the top.
No.
Very top. It says invite people and share video.
Oh no, I don't think.
That I don't know.
Wait, let me check settings. No. Yeah, unless somebody. I don't know. I'll have to check it out later.
I have an option under share video, which is written share audio, and you don't have it. You've got speaker stats instead. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's probably not the same GT, I think.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that if Mike is recording us, I'm not sure. It's this weird.
Maybe someone else could try. Maybe
Yeah.
someone else could try screen sharing. Wait a minute. I don't know how to do it. You'd have to go to YouTube first and get his video and then click on screen share, is it?
Yeah, I'll share the link if anyone wants to try.
Okay. Okay.
Today is Monday the 11th.
Do you hear the sound there? What
Yeah,
first?
I heard it.
Before I start, you hear it? You hear
We
he's
did.
good? You did? Before I screen share, so
11th, 2019.
you hear that? Okay, so now I'm
Yeah.
going to go on screen share. Sorry. Share system audio. Yeah, I have this thing share system audio at the bottom, but you don't have. So
Yeah.
window
That should do it.
and share. Oh, it doesn't say which thing. Oh, No escape. There it is. Okay. Now, what do you see now? Tell me. Do you see it?
Yes.
Do you hear it?
It's an important day in Greece. Today's a
Yes.
public holiday.
Okay.
It's called Kathari Deftera, which means clean Monday, or a really cathartic Monday. Kathari is the root word of catharsis, which implies purgation. It implies cleanliness and rejuvenation in some respects. The English word is shrove.
Sorry, but what do we do now? Because do I play the whole video? Because we then get all tied up listening to him, or do we want to? Because now that we've done it, now what's the plan? Or do we just listen to you for an hour? No, it's not an hour.
We should
Yeah, I think
save
it's
it for a special day.
Well, the video is 45 minutes. I've listened to it recently, so I know that he talks about the 5 stages of grief briefly for about 10-15 minutes. And then he goes into other stuff and he talks about catharsis and all that. So do we save, because we're not prepared, because otherwise we're going to, I know once I start to listen to Hugh's voice, I get into a sort of a trance, because he does the guru thing and it just goes into my head and I start listening and I just forget about everything else. And then we won't discuss because we'll be listening to him. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think it's maybe something we can watch on our own that is pretty long. It's possible maybe in the future you could do something like this if there's one that people want to look at, and then you could maybe have people comment whenever they want it to be paused to discuss whatever it is that is coming up. But yeah, it's something we can do on our own time, I think.
I wonder if DB might have salient points that he wanted us to pay attention since he recently posted it, or whoever has viewed it now. Are there like reminders, salient points from the video?
I remember that he talks a lot about the attitude of people when they go into the gas chamber. He talks a lot of about extinction, managed extinction, like attitude facing extinction, achieving catharsis and reconciliation with death. And I see Divine Beast has written, I posted because of the recent talk with Jos Karabs. Yeah. That's very appropriate, actually, because we were talking about acceptance and stuff like that. So, but he went further in the video where he was of course going back into his usual topics on the establishment and the managed extinction and stuff like that. But I think if we're not prepared, if there's only been a few people who have watched it and all that, we might as well keep that for. What we could do that for another meeting, have a video of you that we watch on our own, and as somebody suggests there, and then we can expand and comment maybe. So I might stop this. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea, Sophie. I can't speak for anyone else, but I think if someone were to come across one, or you're watching it on your own time during the week or something, and you find specific parts that might be pertinent to group discussion or whatever, then you could say, hey, we can start this at this point and maybe listen to 2 or 5 minutes or something. But yeah, that seems like a better way to initiate discussion around it. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think it would be, well, it sounds a bit like homework, but if we picked a meeting, we could at the same time, I don't know, is it possible, Mike, on the mega thread to edit or the title and put in brackets what the meeting is about, a kind of a title topic.
Yeah,
And
it can help me.
you could do it, or any mods, I suppose, could do it, because then also we'd have, because there is 100, and I don't know what I mean, maybe not, because I think the first videos are counted in the, are they? In the meetings, his first videos, they're in the count, no escape.
No escape.
Yeah, I think the meetings are include the numbers, like today is 108.
100. Yeah.
So there would be, I'm not even sure, you see. So the mega thread is so enormous. There's a lot of them. A lot of the videos have not been titled, and we don't really know some of them what they're about until we listen to them again. Like, I have a lot of good memories of them, but the last ones, the first, I know it's just the weekly discussions. It's not the videos. So there is 108. Yeah, it started with our weekly discussions, and then it was production meetings for the ARG. I was just looking at it. So yeah, so there's 108 meetings, and a lot of them we honestly to find, and there was so much in it. It would be really an interesting job to do.
Yeah,
or maybe what we could this is Risa. Maybe what we could do is we could, for episode 16, we could like schedule a date when we can discuss it. You know, on a Sunday. Like you view it ahead of time and take notes, or.
Yeah, that sounds good.
What does it mean to tag a video with meta tags? No, that language I don't understand.
I was just wondering if YouTube or Odyssey or all the other platforms have a function where you can just tag the video, which is just kind of like what you were saying, describe the contents, so it can be in a way easily searchable.
Yeah,
But
keywords.
that always, yeah, keywords. But that, of course, that requires some standardization of words, because then if you have a whole universe of words, then it's hard to know what to search for either. So
Yeah, because I'm looking at the mega thread now, and there's 13. I'm at meeting 13 that when we started, written discussion ARG meeting, and number 13 Mike has put in brackets having kids at the time of collapse, because we talked a lot about that in the meeting. There was other topics, but that was meeting 15, meditation, emergency first aid. That was a meeting that sticks with me too, I remember. But after that, you've got blank, 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 blank.
Right.
And then meeting 21, techniques for self-development, So another one, emotional literacy. Then 24, capital insurrection. So, and then Mike has started to do regular titles for about 50 meetings. But then they became two. There was geoengineering, etc. And then we come to the time when we started Eastern and Western, and that was a title from meeting 79. Then it becomes Eastern, Western, and there's no more topic on the list. So I think, we could, I don't know how we could organize that, but I think it would take I don't think we will overlap straight away anyway. And it would be no harm if people watch them 2 or 3 times and put a different topic on them, because there will be different aspects to the videos, because there was very seldom a video that was on one topic. Very often,
right. It was very wide ranging. Like he
Yeah.
would start with something, we would start with something, and
Yeah.
then go on to a different topic.
But you're absolutely right, DB. What Hugh talked about in that video that we tried to share there is extremely honest. Mm.
Yeah, I've been talking a bit with Just Collapse about this geoengineering project here in on the West Coast. I don't know if you saw my post about it, about having a plastic curtain across a
Yes,
5
it's
kilometer fjord.
terrifying.
Yeah. So I think it was interesting, and I'm gonna try and work some more with Just Collapse on it, because you know they are the experts where they've been for half a year or so. So the interesting thing is that if you view it from a what's in it for us locally perspective, there's actually nothing in it for Greenlanders, because exactly where the ice runs aground, or where it stops because it's shallow, that ice bank, that's the richest fisheries in all of Greenland, and fisheries in its turn is the biggest part of the economy for Greenland. And this curtain that they presented here in Nuuk on Monday is even a Teflon covered curtain, and Teflon is something you really shouldn't have in your pans on your stove, because it's toxic. So you get tons and tons of microplastics from the curtain, from every ins and out of the tides and stuff, or the waves and storms and stuff. And it would disturb the whales. The whales are a big part of tourism up there. You can every time you go down to the beach, you see a whale. Basically, that's what I did when I was up there. And again, you get toxic particles in your food, because Greenlanders eat a lot of seabirds and fish and snow crabs and even whales. So it's the sort of the rich white man's solution for their own problems. But for us locally, it's only added to the problems. So I think that's pretty interesting.
And that Teflon curtain is just because they want to slow down the melting. That's just their solution, is it? It's just that's what opposition are they meeting?
Well, the entire this part of the project is actually quite good, in the sense that it's investigating or checking out what people think locally. So they actually say that there's no guarantee that we will ever do this. It's just the first part of the project to have these meetings with people in on the west coast of Greenland. So yeah, but it's anyway, the way, if you look at it, at the whole picture, it's like Chinese people and European people, I'm sure American people as well, wanting to save their biggest cities from flooding from the ice melt. So they have a they have something to gain from it, but in Greenland, because of loss of gravity pull on the ocean, when the ice sheet melts down, we get lower sea levels around Greenland, and also because of glacial rebound, the land sort of comes up again after being pushed down by the ice. So we will actually see hugely lower sea levels around Greenland. So it's kind of a perfect case of somebody far away wanting to solve their own problems and coming up here and creating more problems for us. So
Oh, Sophie, I think You're muted again.
I said it's hard when we don't have a topic, and also the absence of you. After seeing him, it just you even feel the void of not inspiration, but yeah, maybe inspiration. It's possible. It's going to be like this, I think, with the Extinctionati, because we're going to have these kind of moments, which are not necessarily bad, actually.
I think
Yeah,
this
we-
whole topic is a good thing to go off of, though, because one thing I notice when it comes to a number of these guests and some of the folks that the Extinctionati have interviewed is a lot of them seem to think that there's coming this sort of movie style, like apocalypse or something, where all of a sudden the ice sheet's going to go out in one day, and all of the governments and all of the establishments and the powers that be will be completely caught off guard and not able to do anything about it. And then, collapse is just sort of a big sort of sudden thing that happens. But I see it much more in Hugh's way of a sort of managed collapse, a managed extinction. I think what you're seeing over these past 2 years appears to be somewhat of a controlled demolition of a lot of the structure of the world as it exists today. And I think movies and all of that stuff have made people think that, that's how the world ends, or that's how this paradigm ends in some kind of big event. But I think it's much more this kind of stuff, the dragging it out, the crazy ideas to try to stop nature from doing what it does, Teflon curtains and all this nutso stuff. But yeah, I think it's much better to think about the threat posed by the reactions of the powers that be, as opposed to I think humans are a much bigger enemy than nature is. Let's put it that way, I guess. The human's reaction to what nature is doing is much more dangerous and affecting in the short term, at least.
Yeah, I was actually reminded while I was at this popular meeting for this curtain project that I think it's like now it's like 8 years ago. Then I actually put an application for the job as NATO Secretary General, just for fun, why wouldn't you? So I actually applied for that job the same year as the current Norwegian head of NATO, and of course my policies for NATO would be very, very different. So I go into things like building walls in Antarctica to stop the glaciers and stuff. But that's it's funny to watch again, because it's 8 years ago, and my thinking in these areas has developed a lot, because back then I wanted to stop it from happening, and now I'm like, can it happen faster? Can we go faster than this? So the interesting thing that Gary said at the interview was the stuff about that we also talked about 2 weeks ago, that it seems like the ordinary people, the normies, they are driving this as fast as humanly possible. So it's like even with you still among us, I don't think we could have figured out a way to make things go faster. You just have to look around at your family and friends on Facebook and stuff, and see how much they travel to other continents and stuff for holiday, and all the time it's like pictures of Spain or whatever in your feed. So it's like eco freaks like us. What can we come up with that will accelerate collapse faster than it already is? I don't think that's possible, to be honest.
I don't think so either. I think, I don't know who said it, but someone said, if you were to literally try to design a system that would burn through as many sort of non-renewable resources as possible, you honestly could not come up with a better system than the one that exists in terms of increasing the human population, making billions of consumers out there, everything. I mean, you on it, every aspect of the system functions to serve that purpose. You really couldn't make it any better. I totally agree. But I think thinking about this stuff and how one acts in one's own life shouldn't be guided by what the outcome's going to be, but rather sort of what's right. And I think that ties into what we're talking about here. When it comes to grief, like DB was saying, I had a really good comment here. The in the book, the main character suffers the worst loss anyone could imagine. So maybe in that case, it's the destruction of the earth, or not destruction, but the ending of this sort of version of the world. And a big part of the story is a cycle of grief he goes through that never leaves, but he does go through catharsis, and part of it was getting revenge on the man who took everything away from him. So when it comes to sort of how do you deal with it, or what do you do, I think this is all psychological, but it's sort of affirming that what's going on is not right, and standing against it, not because you're going to make any difference in acceleration or anything like that, but rather just for your own sort of psychological way of dealing with the grief, because it can be paralyzing, and you can go down all kinds of loops and stuff in your own head with all the different layers of despair or whatever. But I think, yeah, like DB was saying, and like Hugh says in that grief video, that the best way to deal with that stuff is to do something against it. And I don't think there's any specifically correct way of doing that. It would depend on the person. But just, it's kind of hard to explain, but just sort of taking a stand in whatever way you can against it in your daily life. And I remember Hugh saying that could be the smallest things, sign that says don't step on the grass, and then you just go step on the grass, or parking only for 15 minutes or whatever, stay 20, that kind of thing. Not because it's making any difference in the long run, but just for your own psychology. I think that's a critical point to try to tie together this conversation with that grief video. Does that make sense? Do people understand what I'm getting at here?
But I think also exploring the finer or exploring the different scenarios or things in our future is can be handy, because, for instance, when REM sings about it's the end of the world as we know it, that's kind of a reference to civilized industrial society, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and when that goes away, we're left with nature and a kind of pre or post-industrial age, or a post-civilized age. And this guy Michael Dowd or something on YouTube, he talks about his wife is one of the most ardent traffickers of plant species. So she traffics them from Florida and stuff, and up to about as far north as they can go and live. So what she's doing, and he's maybe doing also, and I'm considering it, is to sort of prepare for the not afterlife, but the post-civilized life, with helping the trees that will be able to grow up here in Greenland, for instance, or where you live, or to help the trees walk, in a way, as the Indians would say. So, instead of maybe trying to stop the inevitable collapse of civilization, maybe the one thing that keeps you sane could be something like, preparing a tree cover of plants and trees that used to live much further south, and help them to live where you are or where you are going or something. That kind of preparation of the next century or something. Maybe that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's all. As you said, it's all tied up to the individual and to your circumstances, and it's you can't have a solution or a recipe for everyone. It brings back to me. I just pulled out there the book, Hugh's book, St. George and the Methane Dragon, and there was I could remember at some stage he talks about what we're talking about when his the guy Dean starts to explain about the flippening, but it says somewhere Frank Sinatra might have some. As far as the late 80s, governments had already secretly found the answer to the dilemma posed by the limits to growth. There really was no point in capping greenhouse gas emissions or suffering economic austerity. As the logic went, if overshoot, collapse, and a mass die-off were inevitable, then why not just simply embrace the collapse? Frank Sinatra might have summed it up with, before the fiddlers have fled, before they ask us to pay the bill, and while we still have that chance, let's face the music and dance. Except that the elites had no intention of facing the music. And then he goes on to examples, and then he starts saying, by 2020, wars and barriers were rapidly going up all over the world, legal, physical, digital, trade, fiscal, and migratory, all a globally coordinated part of the Milliways doctrine, the restaurant at the end of the universe. And he talks, and you've been talking about the managed extinction. Sometimes his novel has got a lot of what we talk about too in it, and I just remembered how he analyzed that we are in a managed extinction, and that's when he introduces the flippening, of course, and all our attempts to mitigate or to try to, how do you say, how would I put it? I'm so tired that I'm losing my. Can somebody take over? Because I'm after reading.
Yeah, I think to try to tie it together and to tie it to Torstein, I think the system, if you want to talk about the sort of managed extinction system or the global industrial system, the alien cortex system, whatever you want to call it, is against life, and it's for turning live things dead and burning stuff. It's basically turning the whole world into, dead ash and stuff like that. And so to do anything that affirms life in the face of that, if it's defying that system in the form of the law, if it's defying the debt system, if any defiance of that kind of system is a life affirming defiance. So the same thing would go for planting trees or adopting pets or anything like that. To be pro life, not not in the conventional sense of the term, but to be for life in the face of the system that is pro death is maybe another way to think about all of it. Again, not with the idea that you have to save 100 lives in your lifetime or 1,000 trees or anything like that, but to just do what you can whenever you can to be life affirming is I think it's the right way to do it, and it's good for your own psychology in the defiance of this destructive system.
Yeah, I usually think, I've been thinking for some years that people are wrong simply when they say that climate change is a problem, because to me anyway, overshoot is the problem. Overshoot in all its forms and consequences, and in that context, climate change actually becomes a solution to the overshoot problem. And we've also been talking about Mother Earth sort of being at the wheel, being behind the wheel, and sort of naturally managing the end of the overshoot. And I think that also makes it kind of easier to be on the side of an early collapse, because it's not so